Good evening. Welcome to Psychic Paranormal Live. I'm Eleni. If this is your first time tuning in, or later if you decide to watch the replay, I will again give a little bio on myself. I've been a practicing psychic / medium and astrologer for 30 years now. I've been taking one-on-one appointments. The way I work is in the context of a message. I might get something in psychically, which is usually what's coming up for you, unless there's something in your past that's holding you back. Psychic mediumship is relatives, loved ones, pets in the spirit world, and then psychic astrology, which I look at the wheel and it's a conduit for me to receive visions. Maybe it's a conduit, opens me up with mediumship, past lives, the gamut. I never know until the reading has started where the direction's gonna go. So, so what I'll do is I'll start off with astrological weather, because that's a lot of times with the live how I like to start off. So right now the moon is in Aries. It just moved there, and I'm on New York time if you're tuning in from a different time zone. The moon is in Aries right now. So that's probably through most of Saturday, if not into Sunday. Actually, I don't have the app on the other phone to look at the time. So people might be feeling a little more feistier the next couple days. People can become a little more aggressive, argumentative. So bite your tongue, hold your roll. Try to restrain yourself if you cross paths with somebody that's volatile, because we just had an eclipse Tuesday. And I was seeing shakeups this week, the day of the eclipse, because eclipses can be extreme. New beginnings, new endings, eclipse in, eclipse out. Hello, Xenoph God. How are you this evening? Where are you tuning in from? To let me know what part of the world you are from. You could say your country. Hi, Tyler. Good evening. Welcome to Psychic Paranormal Live here. I'm Eleni. I was just going through some very good. I was just going through some astrological weather. Hi, Gianna. Good evening. If you could tell me what part of the world you're tuning in, if you're United States, you could say the state. So I don't know what deer is too on the screen, because I associate that as an animal. Interestingly enough, in the native medicine, deer means compassion, gentility. So deer, New Zealand. Okay, very good. New Zealand. I just want to write this down. California. Okay, very good. Okay, so for New Zealand, it's it's Thursday, your time zone. So that too, so maybe that's a signifier of gentleness, compassion, energy. I am going through the astrological weather right now, but if you want me to talk about a topic relevant to the live, let me know also what you want. If you want to hear me just talk, I can talk. As I was saying, the moon, which is your emotions and health, is in Aries right now. People might be a little more feistier the next couple days. So watch more how other people are, because they may be itching for a disagreement. So you want to take the high road with that. Oh, it's 1:45 p.m. in New Zealand. Right. Thanks for verifying. Yeah, so it's Thursday afternoon. No, I don't remember seeing a Josh Ducks. I do have a lot of volume of people on a weekly basis. Yeah, so it's Thursday afternoon in New Zealand. For everyone else, California, I know is 3 hours. It's 4:36 p.m. in California, Pacific Standard Time. Right. So you are on to Thursday afternoon, New Zealand, in Auckland. Is that, I'm going to ask you because I'm not Googling, is that the capital? So thank you for that. Okay. So tomorrow is an interesting day with astrology. So this could also, for New Zealand, this could go into Saturday for you. We have a 0-degree lineup, and 0 in astrology is about beginnings. Neptune, which is ruled by Poseidon, the trident of the sea, has now moved into Aries. I've talked about that in previous lives. So now it's a lot more assertive because Aries wanted something 5 minutes ago. They are catching the football and they are running down the football field and they are going. They will take the risk to get tackled, whatever it takes to get to score a touchdown. So the energy in that regard is a lot more assertive. If you're Aries, so this applies to you. If you know your birthday, Aries sun, Aries moon, Aries rising, this applies to all of you. Saturn, the work career planet, Friday, and that's the father, also in astrology, moved into Aries. So if you know anyone Aries, I don't know specifically about kiwi birds, but I am interested in animals. And if there's any in New Zealand we don't have here in the States that has a spiritual meaning connected to that specific bird, I am very interested in that. So tomorrow, Saturn and Neptune line up in Aries, or Saturday for New Zealand. The last time this lineup, that tomorrow, Saturday, again, depending on your time zone, was 6,000 years ago. So what's the point? Oh, you're hiking on a volcano tomorrow. Very interesting. Yeah, so I've been to the volcano in Hawaii from the goddess Pele. So, you know, volcanoes, well, obviously, right, it's the volcano isn't erupting because you wouldn't be able to hike on the volcano if it was erupting. Yeah, so, I mean, hiking on a volcano is very symbolic, right? If you look at the nature of a volcano, right, it stays submerged or calm, but when it blows its top, it's very fiery and explosive. So hiking on a volcano while it's dormant, I would pay attention on a sensory level, what you're feeling, picking up. You're going to get a volcano rock. What color is that? Black, the volcano rock? That's cool. A volcano rock, because in Hawaii, one of the beaches is black sand because of the Kilauea. Yeah, okay, Kilauea volcano on Big Island. So, and actually, to say, I don't know your first name in New Zealand, actually the Kilauea in Hawaii, last I looked, it was erupting this week. It had erupted. Let me see if it's still erupting here. 1 second, just because it was a couple days ago. I mean, it was extraordinary to see the footage. Let's see, news 3, Kilauea eruption. This is okay. I'm just looking. Okay, actually here, this is interesting because the synchronicity. The eruption in Hawaii ended, but a couple days ago it was erupting. So here, this KITV, the eruption ends, fountains reach 1,300 feet, lava covers 50% of the crater. That happened this week. Steak is $60. We have expensive steaks, the Wagyu. Are you saying when you go buy at the supermarket? Or are you saying when you go out and you order a steak? So it's interesting. $9, you're saying when you go out. You're on the street, that it's $9. In a restaurant, yeah, you have to watch where you go, but that's not every restaurant, correct? That it's $60 a steak and $9 a water bottle. So, interestingly, Kilauea just finished erupting, and it was erupting during, we had an eclipse Wednesday, New Zealand time. No, wait, let me see, because if you're 145, 7, you're like 18 hours ahead of us. So let's see, 7. Yeah, so it was like 1 a.m. into 2 Wednesday for New Zealand. So, congratulations. Oh, like you're saying the cost of inflation is so extreme in New Zealand. I don't know if that's the point you're honing in on, but I just, oh, okay. That about the inflation. Okay, very good. Not very good about inflation, but me understanding what you were explaining. So the eclipse was Tuesday US time, Wednesday, early Wednesday New Zealand time. That Kilauea volcano was erupting during the eclipse. And how has the week been? Have people had sudden developments, people around you could be panicking, expect the unexpected, suddenly a deal falls through, or someone's panicking about starting a new business. What it can create is extreme emotions and responses. So we have that energy. So we have the Aries moon the next couple days. Just watch, because there will be people itching for a fight. So tomorrow, pay attention, or Saturday, but you're going on the volcano. So that is, you're really doing something special with that energy tomorrow, that lineup of energy that hasn't been for 6,000 years. Also, too, when I talk about the astrology, I had been talking in the previous lives. January, we had a lot of planets in Capricorn. Up until yesterday, we had a lot of planets in Aquarius. Now we're moving into a Pisces stellium. The sun moved into Pisces yesterday. So Pisces people, Pisces, sun, moon, rising, you have a primary planet in Pisces. Listen up. This also applies to you like everyone else. The sun is now in Pisces until March 20th. Mercury is in Pisces until April, because it's going to go retrograde next week. And I'll talk about that in a second, what it means when Mercury goes retrograde. Venus, the romance planet, is in Pisces. So the energy has become very dreamy. We want to, we may be feeling more. We may have more vivid dreams too. Have you had vivid dreams the last couple nights? Because the moon was in Pisces, and that facilitates that energy for vivid dreams when the moon's in Pisces. And now we have all this Pisces energy, 3 planets in Pisces. We are feeling more artistic. We are feeling very sensitive. We are feeling our emotions. If we don't feel our emotions, that is not good. Pushing away feelings is not in anyone's best interest. So it's a very sensitive, artistic, creative, intuitive cycle through March 20th with all the Pisces. So make the most of it. Connect with your feelings. Pisces is water. It wants you to connect to your feelings. It's it's the last sign in the Western zodiac. It's fish. It's dual, like Gemini and Sagittarius. So the fish can struggle in what is the correct direction to proceed. Do you swim upstream? Do you swim downstream? Also, too, it's a time, if you know anybody with addictions, It's a time to really examine their addictions, and work on getting an addiction under control, because Pisces also likes to escape. It is an escapist. It likes to, not always feel so much on a sensitivity level. So, also too, somebody's addiction might be revealed. Something like this. Next week, what is it? The 25th. Today's the 9th, 22nd. Okay, so next Wednesday, when the next live is going to be on Wednesday. It's going to be back the next 2 Wednesdays. It'll be Wednesday evenings, where it usually has been this year. Mercury goes retrograde next week, and I'll talk about this in that live, because it'll be officially retrograde by then. And I've been saying this in the readings. Mercury retrograde is not a time to sign papers. Like here in the United States, we have tax season. So I've been telling everyone to sign papers after the 20th of March. Now next week is not the time to change your cell phone just because, or buy a TV just because, or a washer machine, or an automobile, because in astrology we believe there's a higher probability of that electronic product malfunctioning. Sometimes, look, your washer machine breaks down during a Mercury retrograde. You have to get it. You get it. People ask me with jobs too. If you are a person that wants to change jobs, but that's it for the rest of your life, or you want to work there 30 years, now through March 20th is not a time to change jobs. Hi, Annie. How are you? Good evening. Good evening. I'll wrap this up about Mercury retrograde, and then we can go into your son's astrology. I've just been talking the astrological weather as an opener. I'm talking about Mercury retrograde next week. So I've been telling everyone with tax season, don't sign your taxes until after March 20th. Okay, good. Yeah, and we will, in the next couple minutes, segue into your son's astrology too. I am wrapping up the astrological weather for the week and just starting to go into Mercury retrograde next week. During a Mercury retrograde, it's not a time to buy new electronics. It's not a time to buy a car, a cell phone, because there's a higher probability of malfunctioning. And I say this during a retrograde. If you have to, because something, breaks down, you got your taxes, okay, you're already done. Wow, you are ahead of you are on your A game. Congratulations. Good. You know what? You got it in before the retrograde. So kudos to you. I'm impressed with that. You got it, in before the retrograde starts on Wednesday. Okay, very interesting. Yeah, it's because this one, I've been saying this in the appointments. Expect to cross paths with people that are going to be very confused. Not everyone, but a Mercury Pisces retrograde can create a higher probability of confusion, or you're saying something to someone, but they're confused in what you're saying and thinking you're saying something else. There's a higher probability because Mercury in Pisces can also create like being in a fog in your brain. It can create, all about Mercury. Good. You're ahead of the curve, Annie, than most people. So it's just saying that's February 25th to March 20th is Mercury retrograde. I will post a video about Mercury retrograde. I'm thinking probably by Tuesday, Wednesday, I will upload a specific Mercury retrograde video too, because people ask with jobs, do I start a new job during a retrograde? And I say, if you're okay with the job being temporary, then the answer is yes. But people that are very, want a set routine for the long term with work, I say no, it's not a time to send out applications, accept a job offer, so on and so on. I find traveling is fine during a Mercury retrograde. I know I booked a plane ticket this week before the Mercury retrograde. I was being extra cautious that I'm not going to book any plane tickets now till after the retrograde completes next month. I am, Annie, going to move into your son's astrology, right? We said we were going to do this. So, Annie, type your son's day, month, year, his time of birth, the town, and the state, so I can plug that in to pull up his astrology chart too, because we'll segue that into your son's astrology chart. So let's see. Also, as far as the ghost story videos, I filmed, I believe I uploaded the Gravity Hill here. I'm not exactly remembering, but I also filmed a horse ghost story. Okay, good, you got it. Okay, so I will go with we're staying with the astrology, but everyone that's tuning in, I am going to analyze Annie's son's astrology, and it's specific because she knows his time of birth. So this is a natal chart, not a solar, because the time of birth is known. So I'm just plugging in the info to get his chart up and running. And I will, let's see, Weymouth, Massachusetts. Okay, June 30th. Oh, no, wait, I don't have the right year. Let me get that. This is why we do the double check. June 30th, 1994. Oh, wait, 4:40 p.m. This is why we do the double check. And you see with the Pisces energy, how it goes slower. So because it goes slower, you also have to double check, because there were two. I had to double check the year because I hadn't typed in the correct year, and I was missing the 40-minute of the PM. June. Yeah, I hear this with a lot of mothers, what you're saying, Annie, that it is a vivid, that's what too. How many times when someone is just say booked an appointment and they're like, well, I don't know the time, let me contact mom. I want to say 8 times out of 10 when they make contact with mom, oh, mom remembers because of the labor. She's like, oh, I know. I was looking at that clock, and you had him natural. Yeah. So that's even more intense. Yeah. And that's what's saying too with the double check, because that's what too, because see, the Pisces energy can get cloudy. And we're getting close to the retrograde. Yeah, that's why I'm saying when you said it, that the women often say, yeah, because I looked at the clock for what, I endured. What time was it, right? So it's, it's a lot of mothers, that's one of the reasons why they remember their child's time of birth. Okay, June 30th, 94. I'm being extra checking here. 4:40 p.m., Weymouth, Massachusetts. Okay, looks good. Let's see what comes up. Okay, so he's Cancer, sun sign, obviously. And as I was typing it, obviously, Annie, very sensitive. I think my assessment as an astrologer is, and especially with the male Cancers, there's a lot going on internally on a sensitivity level, so may not always express the feelings. And interestingly enough, it's an Aries moon right now, which I talked about at the beginning of the live. Your sun has Aries moon. So the next couple days, he should feel an uptick of energy because the moon is moving through his moon sign when he was born. You know, and I'm first starting with the sun moon, Cancer Aries moon feels things intensely. I don't think, and I'm not saying you, I don't think people realize how intensely a sun Cancer Aries moon feels. I feel it like goes under the radar with other people even, you know, realizing this. Okay, so he's got Scorpio on the rising. He should have intense eyes. Usually Scorpio rising people have very piercing eyes. Like they pierce through you because the rising is the social mask, the first impression of what people perceive. Also, his Pluto is in his first house. So that actually also too makes his personality also Scorpio because the Pluto's in the first house. And the rising is Scorpio. So when the Pluto's in the first house, like your sun, S-O-N, that's saying in here, you know, he's Cancer, S-U-N sign. That adds a scorpionic aspect to his personality. A very rich, deep inner world. Very mysterious. Too, one of the themes in his life is about transformation and transforming. I do get to say Annie too, and I just want to acknowledge this. I get your dad's been around him a lot lately. To say, is there something going on? Because I feel dad, your dad, granddad for him, I feel like also comfort and support. Yeah, that too, because I was getting that really strong. Too, that dad wants you to know also if he's going through a little bit of a rough patch, dad's around helping to give, I heard, kindness and support. You have not talked with your son in how long? Let's see. Oh, okay, a week. That's not so bad. But your dad's been with him a lot the last days. If he's not going through a rough patch right now, I'll tell you with the astrology, what I'm piecing this with. It just clicked. If he's not going through a rough patch right now, there's one up the pike. And I'll tell you this, with the Aries moon, when I started the live, and I probably will release this live, so if you want to listen to the beginning, it takes a while to download. It may not be up until tomorrow. Yeah, he doesn't say much. You know what, too? And I'll tell you, that Pluto in the first house is very secretive. And then because also, too, the Cancer, I see it in the men, not always able, not feeling comfortable to be emotionally expressive. I think he's going through a little bit of a rough patch, to say. And yeah, you sense things. Yeah, because you're really open. I mean, have you been feeling that he's going through a little bit of a rough patch lately? Because dad's been with him a lot these last days. Too. And he's got that Aries moon. Okay, because that's what I'm picking up on with this. Also, too, I get he's debating a move. Thinking about a move, some type of move. He's going through a rough patch because that's coming in so strong. And I'll say that's not the chart. That's me picking up on a telepathic level. The chart's not telling me that, saying how when I look at the chart. Yeah, he is, and he's not talking about it. He holds it in. And with that Aries moon, right? So his moon sign, Aries rules the head. Yeah, he wants to, he's got to have more of a tactical plan with the move I'm getting. I feel he can move, but he moved in September. Oh, he moved out of, oh, this, okay, and he just moved in September. Yeah, that's quick too, because that's only 6 months. I feel there is a move this year, but I get he's got to have a stronger course of action with the next move. Yeah, he's not happy there. That's also causing the moodiness too. Yeah, it needs to be more thought out. And with the Mercury now within days going retrograde, I'd say April on is having a clearer idea with the move. I've been telling people in the readings too, with business deals, that April it's a clearer, smoother month in that regard. Also, he's got that Aries moon. Saturn, which is the word career plans, also the father, discipline meets action, Saturn and Aries, just moved into Aries on the 13th. I think I've talked about it in other lives. If it wasn't this live, then it was another live that I do. But I think I've talked about this here. When Saturn moves even with the moon sign, it works you over. So he's gonna have now Saturn working over his emotions. I really feel with the emotions too. So he's in that mix with the Saturn moving into Aries until 2028. It's gonna ask him to step up, because also he's been hesitating. Like, I see steps and I see one foot on the step and then I see the other foot at the bottom of the stairs. Yeah, so he's got that going on. His Mercury is retrograde, Annie, 0 degrees Cancer. My opinion as an astrologer, that's a challenge. Because 0 degrees, and the way that I view 0 degrees in astrology is it's like the gas tank is empty. When you have a planet that's 0 degrees, you have to work extra. But the retrogrades can be a good time for him because he's retrograde. He might actually have more clarity during a retrograde because his Mercury is retrograde. So yeah, you feel that he holds back, but it, like with his Mercury retrograde in Cancer, it's also like I feel this, like I can't sort myself out. I don't know. I don't understand. I'm talking the emotions, the inner world. That's a challenge, his Mercury retrograde, 0 degrees Cancer. That's what I think. His romance planet, his relationship planet, his Venus is in Leo. Venus, Leo. Yeah, I just think he's got to be very planned out about it so this doesn't happen again too. He's got to fine tune that. Yeah, I don't feel, his girlfriend's a Taurus. Yeah, I mean, and his Mars, his action planet is Taurus, so she should energize him too. That's good that she's an earth sign, because the Taurus women are usually very tough and they're very supportive of helping the partner move forward. So I think that's good for him. He's got a Taurus girlfriend too. Let's see. And Taurus, he is Scorpio 22 on the rising. He's Taurus 22. And what date they moved to this place? because of her job. I'm sorry to hear that about her dad. Her dad passed away and then she lost that job. I'll tell you this, as an astrologer, Uranus and Taurus can shake things up, and Taurus does not do well with being shaken up. Gemini and Aquarius have the gumption to handle that as signs, but okay, she got a good job in Boston now. Very good. So she landed back on her feet. But I would say that whole too, there was something that activated in her chart with the Uranus and Taurus, because Uranus and Taurus is going to complete this transit from 2018, like April 28th. So that should also make her feel a lift. Let me say this about your sun, what I'm getting in, your SON. May 12th. Yeah. And it's so funny. I was like, one of my cousins who I'm very close to is May 12th. They are very consistent on the relationship front. Yeah, and she's smart too. They are very efficient. I know May 12th female very well. It's a good day to be born a female Taurus. Also, what I'm getting in about your son is that he's a warrior, not WORRIER. He worries. Oh, okay. He spent a month in China. I also feel it's a past life thing for him too with China. That's why China resonates with him. So I was just thinking about something else that I like in China. I like the panda bear, so I started going into Chengdu, Shenshuping, and all of that. But yeah, a lot of past lives in China. That's why it resonates with him. He's a warrior. When that with the girlfriend, he gets very worried and then he feels powerless to do anything. And that's a very it's a little on the emotion level, it's scary for him because he feels like stuck what to do. 50. Wow. Yeah. Was that a sudden with the father too? Was that a sudden passing? Yeah, okay. And how long ago was this with the father that this transpired? Scorpio 22, Sag 22, Capricorn. Okay, but it was like this, I felt that this was quick, right? Sometimes when they have cancer, it can go on for years. This felt very quick to me. I get with her father, his mother came and got him. February. Yeah, and they didn't think the family didn't think it was going to be that quick. There was a lot of shock. They thought they had more time with him. But his mother came and got him. And I do get that he spends time with his mother. Okay, then it's the grandmother. The grandmother was like a mother for him, correct? Or, I mean, I don't know how much you know because it's your son's girlfriend's father. So, now we're getting a bit more removed. So then it's the grandmother was very much a mother to him. I get. And there's a strong, yeah, that's why I was feeling you're not going to know. It's okay. But he's fine. He's doing great. He's fine. He's okay. And this happened just this past August, correct? Okay. So, yeah, that's the thing too. So Sometimes some people come through and talk very quick. Some people it takes a couple years. Um, but but he's doing good. I feel good about him, her father. But that's a big blow. I mean, she's young too. Um, Hi, Grace. Good evening. Welcome to Psychic Paranormal Live. We're doing some astrology right now. If anybody's tuning in. Okay, let's see. So the Pluto is in the first house. Pluto 22, Sag 22, Capricorn. Okay, so the Uranus is in the third house. Okay, let me with Annie, you'll have to go into specifics, Grace, what specifically you're trying to sort through. Ooh, you know what it is, Annie? I feel how connected your son is with your girlfriend. She almost now, like energetically, is in his chart. So I have to remove myself from that to get back into him. Yeah, you know, he's got a couple planets in the third house, the Neptune and Uranus. So I think communication, you know, I do feel that you create an open line of communication. So Grace, this is a psychic paranormal live, not a support group for why you're quitting YouTube, just to say. So that's out of this wheelhouse, but you know, yeah, and it's not, I do feel you do have an open, you do facilitate an open line of communication with him. But again, that Mercury 0 degrees retrograde Cancer, not ideal. As an astrologer, that's my assessment. That's tough. That is tough. Scorpio 22, Pisces 22. Was the father also too with raising him not around as much? Because I'm taking his Saturn, which is the father, in the fourth house, and it's retrograde. And also Saturn, Pisces people achieve the pinnacle of career success after 40. It's later in life. Because with that Saturn retrograde, I'm reading it in the fourth. Because he's Scorpio 22. So that would be Pisces 22. Okay, well, block him, Grace. If he's texting, he won't quit texting you, then block him. But that's not this live, what I'm doing, Grace. So you're out of, like, that's a different wheelhouse, what you're asking for. That's something then, Grace, to work with a therapist. I'm still with you, Annie. But I want to nip this in the bud with Grace. That's something that, too, you're paranoid. I don't treat paranoia. That's something a licensed therapist would help you through. So if you're paranoid and you're stressed, that's not what this live is. This isn't, I don't have a master's in MSW. I don't have a master's in counseling. Yeah, you know what, too, Annie? I'm feeling when I look at that Saturn retrograde in his chart, I feel the distance of the dad, and that really affected him, and he's not saying as much. Grace, I'm going to say this, that, too, I'm a big advocate of therapy, too. So I'd like you to seek a professional with your situation with your ex-boyfriend and get the proper guidance how to alleviate your paranoia. So God bless, Grace, with that. Yeah. So that I feel that really strong with the dad, Annie. That had, and not that's beyond your control. That had a huge impact on him. I feel it on a psychic level too. Scorpio 22. Let me see. His moon is in Aries, Pisces 22, Aries 22, the 6th. Let me just check this, that his moon. I'm interpreting his moon in his 5th house. I'm just looking at the chart, if that's why I'm looking below. I'll just show you. This is the good thing with this live, that I can, oh, it's had rebooted. Okay, let's see. Let's give it, it rebooted. But the good thing is he's typed in. It does that from time to time. That's nothing, that's nothing spirit did. It does that. That's no sign from spirit. You know, that's right. But when I circle back and say, yeah, that, yeah, that with Cancer, because Cancer is also the sign that rules family. That had an impact on him, but that's beyond your control too. I feel his father could have made more effort. Yeah, okay, so that's the off and on. And that creates baggage, as you know, because that creates confusion over what you accept and your standards are in, you know, a paternal relationship. Scorpio 22, Pisces 22. I'm just making sure. Okay, so I'm reading his moon in Aries in his 5th house. Yeah, it's nothing with you, Annie. It's I really do, I lay it on your ex. To be honest, if I thought it was you, I wouldn't be saying this right now. I think you've seen enough of my lives. Yeah, they're good now, but it shows in the chart, the impact in the childhood. With the Saturn, it was his Saturn Pisces retrograde. I felt, for so long. I don't know if you sent a message and they flagged it. Oh, okay. They flagged your message. Yeah, but I unflagged it. Let me put show. Okay. Yeah, that's tough. And depending whether, dad is, on the proper meds. Yeah, at the time I don't get it was anything with you. I mean, you've seen enough of my lives where I don't tell people what they want to hear. And if they get pissed off, I know that my intention is with the highest good. So I don't go and say, oh no, it wasn't you. And then, that's not a telling you what you want to hear. That's what I'm getting in, that it's irrespective of you. Does he also, your son, does he like sporting events? Is he a sporting events person or enjoys concert? Because his 5th house is in a sign of sports, entertainment. No, he doesn't like sports. What about concerts? Does he like concerts? And this is going with his astrology. This is not psychic to say. With this, what about, okay, so no to sporting events. Is it no? Oh, a no and a no. Okay. I will ask you, what does he like to do as an outlet? Tell me a hobby, just so I can get a pulse on that with him. What's something like a pastime that he likes? Because with the moon in the 5th house, that's really important to have that outlet too with that. He likes theater. Okay. So he likes theater, snowboarding in the past. He did jujitsu. Okay, but that's good with the theater because the theater is the 5th house. So that's good. Skating, ice skating. I'll say this. Annie, I consider jujitsu and ice skating, I put them in the genre of a sport because there's a physicality to it. So I'm going to give the sport aspect to the jujitsu and the ice skating as well. Yeah, too. I feel he needs something now to fill that hole of what he doesn't do anymore for the outlet. His Mars, his action plan is Taurus. I like Mars and Taurus because they show up. They like to show up to work. They like to work. Work gives them purpose. His Mars, his action planet is in his relationship house. I'll ask you this. A ping pong. Yeah, I consider ping pong. I think, right, doesn't the Olympics have ping pong? And, right, the Olympics has ice skating as too. And the Olympics is about sports. So I believe also they have ping pong. Don't quote me on the ping pong, but I know they have the ice skating. That I know. So his action planet is in his relationship house. Usually when somebody has that there, they have to watch with being argumentative. So I'm going to ask you, was he argumentative with you or his father, from what you know? Because that is not psychic. That is astrological data input. But yeah, okay, so argumentative, yes. Mars in the 7th usually indicates someone that can be argumentative and because the 7th house isn't just the romantic partner, it's relationships across the board. Yeah, and I'll tell you, with the astrology, that's what I'm saying. That's not, yeah, with others, yes. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, and that's not psychic, that's astrological data. That his Mars is in his 7th, that's what from an astrology usually indicates in the personality. They're, with others, yes, they can be argumentative. That they have to temper that too. Okay, so Scorpio 22, Taurus 22, Gemini 22 on the 8th. Okay, so his sun, I'm reading his sun and his Mercury are in his 8th house. That says to me he's highly intuitive. Whether or not he owns up to that is something else. Also, he benefits through other people in this life. So I feel with the girlfriend, her now accumulating a good money stream. Oh, yours are in the 8th house too. Yeah, when you have planets in the 8th house, that usually indicates psychic experiences, if not ability. And I read, because he's Scorpio 22, he's Taurus 22, he's Gemini 22 on the 8th, and then that Mercury and Sun are I-rated in the 8th. Yeah, so that's really karmic between you and him, to have your Sun and Mercury respectively in your 8th houses. That's very, very karmic, because that is unique. I don't know when I've done a chart and a mother and son have that both in their charts. That is very karmic. And I think that indicates a past life together in a psychic community, because I say this at the live shows too, that one of the reasons that people attend the shows or have the interest is because in other incarnations, you were in psychic communities. And I feel with that karmic lineup between the two of you, that's what I'm getting, past lives. Or the other thing I tell people too, you may have done psychic work in another life. Oh yeah, his spirit came to you when you were pregnant. Yeah, that's powerful. That's deep. That's very powerful. It's a very psychic experience to have during pregnancy. That is very deep and beautiful too. Yeah. So that means his soul is psychically more attuned. But see, the men have a harder time across the board connecting with that. It's easier for women to embrace it. I mean, look, there are male psychics and mediums. Yeah. I feel he subdues it, and I'm not faulting him because it's kind of expected. Yeah, I mean, because also too, he's a water sign. Now, whether they, you know what I mean, you stay connected. I think he goes in and out of it. Scorpio 22, Leo 22 on the 10th. So his relationship planet, not his house, sign, is in his house of travel, higher learning. Yeah, that's good you told him. I think he does listen to his intuition. Um, but I think he keeps it to himself, is what I get. He keeps that very much to himself. He's, yeah, and that Annie is the Venus in the ninth house, because the ninth house too is also the house. It's a learning house. So I'm going to give that Venus in the ninth to the love of travel and reading, too. Yeah, he just doesn't, he's way more, if I wasn't looking at his chart and tuning into him, I wouldn't know how synced in he is, but I'm feeling it. It's emanating strong. Like he doesn't talk about his experiences. He's very guarded, which is not surprising with the males. I see that more with the males than the females too. So that is my synopsis of his astrology chart, Annie. He's got his Jupiter, Scorpio 22. He's got his Jupiter in Scorpio retrograde in his 12th. So I would say with that, in a past life, Lady Luck didn't go his way. That's a residue from another life. I don't think that impacts this life. You're welcome, because you know what it is, Annie, too. I'm gonna, I think, wrap up the live with this, that I'm gonna wrap up to call it a night. But next week, I'd like to talk about the difference between a ghost and a spirit. And I'll say this, Annie, next week, if you want me to do a comparison chart with the girlfriend and him, and, if, we could do that next week. The next live will be back to the 25th of February. It'll be, why don't we do that with the girlfriend and him next week? We can do that. So the next live will be February 25th. We'll be back to Wednesday for the next 2 Wednesdays, definitely. So it'll be back to the regular evening and night. Let's do that next week. I would like to talk about the difference between a ghost and a spirit. I'll talk about Mercury retrograde, because we'll be in it. And the eclipse coming up on the 3rd of March. So yeah, I'm gonna close up the live for tonight. So yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so that's way too. So you know a little bit for next week. And everyone that's tuning in, the more you participate in the live with comments that are on topic to the live, the more you enrich the live. So I'm going to say this, Annie, to you and anyone who's listening, that good night, and remember that spirit lives on in you. Good night. See you on the 25th.